Hey there, card folk. Speedrobo here, and today I have a fun little Dragon Ball Super deck profile for you. It's a deck that I like to call Slug Maidens. That's right, it's a deck using the Lord Slug leader and the Maiden main deck, the archetype stuff. So let's get into it. We're using the Lord Slug leader, as I said, and he is a very good leader. Is he SS3 good? Not even close, but this deck is just for fun, not for competitive play, so he'll do just fine. He has the ability to break one life, add it to your hand, and he gains crit. So his front side is the same as the crit Vegeta from Booster Set 1, and his flipped side is also very nice. When he attacks, you draw a card, standard leader stuff, and you can discard a card from your hand to force your opponent to discard one. This is especially good with Maidens because you want your Kakunsas and your Rosies to end up in the graveyard anyway, so using one of your own abilities to discard them isn't a downside at all. So you can effectively make your opponent discard one card for free. Very good stuff. Let's start with the bottom and work our way up. So one drops are first. I run one copy of King Vegeta's Surprise Attack. Why only one copy? Because it's funny and exciting, but not a particularly great card for this build. Activate Battle, so you do it during the combo step. Choose up to one of your battle cards. It gains +10 and Revenge until the end of the turn. So if you have something really important on your board, like a Ribrianne, and your opponent's trying to attack it, you can combo with this to protect it and kill whatever's attacking it. Handy. Very handy. Next, I run two copies of Full Power Energy. It is a counter attack, negate the attack for one green energy, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 1 or less and KO it. If your opponent is trying to do the Trunks 1-drop plus flute, swing, 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 look at me, I'm SS3, woo! Type combo, this will put an end to that. So that is what that is for. Next, 4 copies of Zabruto Maiden Attendant. 1 energy. When you play him, you check the top 3 for a Universe 2 and add it to your hand. Standard search card. There's no reason not to run this guy at 4. Speaking of no reason not to run at 4, 4 copies of Newfound Power Son Gohan. This is the Saiyan Kaba clone for green. 1 green energy. When it attacks, you break a life, add it to your hand. He gains +10 and crit for the turn. Not just for the battle, but for the turn. That's neat. So, yeah, even though your leader does break your own life, your life, aside from your last life point, so 7 of your 8 life, is nothing more than cards to be drawn, and you want to draw them as quickly as possible, especially your first 4, so that you can awaken and start forcing your opponent to discard. This helps you do that while preventing your opponent from drawing cards by hitting them with crit. There is absolutely no reason not to run 4 of this in every single green deck. And the last 1 drop, 4 copies of Sacrifice. Since our leader is a Namekian, this is an amazing negate. Counter attack, negate the attack. But if your leader card is Namekian, when you activate this card's counter, you can break 1 life and add it to your hand instead of paying the cost. So this is a free counter for the low price of drawing a card. Who doesn't want that? You're tapped out, you're at 3 life, your opponent's like, oh yeah, I've totally got him. There's no way he can stop this 5 billion power triple strike. Draw a card and negate the attack. Done and done. Easy stuff. Love Sacrifice. Run 4 of it without a doubt. Moving on to the 2 drops. 4 copies of the Namekian Super Combo. If your leader is a Namekian and your life is 5 or less, gain +10, draw a card, standard Super Combo stuff. Leader is a Namekian, so there's no reason not to use this. Next, 4 copies of Girl Warrior Briand de Chateau. 2-drop with Barrier. When you play her, you check the top 7 for a Maiden squad and add it to hand. This card is absolutely essential for the deck. It gets you what you need in your hand, and it is the evolve target for the 5-drop, which is part of the whole Maiden squad combo. So you need her at 4. Next, I run 4 copies of the free blocker. If you have a Universe 2 in your battle area, you play this guy for free, and he's a blocker. Good stuff. I like him a lot. Now 3-drops. I only run 1 3-drop, and it's 4 copies of Teleporting Jimsy. Honestly, this is a card that you could take out or mess around with running him at different numbers if you want to. He's mostly just in here because he's a Universe 2 and another target for my 1-drops search, so I don't whiff as much. Permanent. Reduce the energy cost of Maiden Squad in your hand by 2, and activate main, discard a card to warp him, and then play him again at the start of your turn. Overall, this card is only okay. Most of the time you won't be playing your squads from hand, you'll be playing them from the grave, so he sees very limited use. Going into the 4-drops, you gotta run 4 copies of Maiden Transformation. Activate main, choose 2 squads from your drop with an energy cost of 4 or less and play them. This is the most important card in the deck because it allows you to bring out the girls, Rosie and Kakunsa, from the grave for just 4 energy, which you need all 3, Kakunsa, Rosie, and Ribrianne on the field in order for anything to happen in this deck. So you need this at 4, and you're going to want to mulligan for it as well. And then we're going to be running 4 copies of both Kakunsa and Rosie in this deck, which you absolutely have to because they are vital. So Rosie is the weaker of the 2. She has blocker, and at the end of your turn, if Ribrianne and Kakunsa are in play in your battle area, switch her to active mode. So you can swing with her, and then stand her, and then block with her during your turn. That's alright, but here's the one that's really important. Kakunsa, she has critical, and if Ribrianne and Rosie are in your battle area, she gains dual attack. That is a 20 power critical dual attack. That is nothing to sneeze at. She is quite scary. She is going to be how you will be dealing most of your damage in the game. And now for the top end of the deck, we run 4 copies of Maiden Squadron leader Ribrianne and 3 copies of her EX evolution. So the 5-drop here has evolve for 3, barrier, and when a card evolves into this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. This ability comes in handy more often than it initially sounds that it would. Very nice to have. And auto, when this card attacks, if Kakunsa and Rosie are in play in your battle area, choose 2 cards from your opponent's hand and discard them. So effectively, you choose the 2 cards at random. I have won many games off of that discard skill. Now, keep in mind, you're not going to want to attack the enemy leader with this to activate your discard skill, because she doesn't have crit, and that's just going to allow your opponent to refill their hand from their life. So you're going to want to swing at battle cards with this to reduce their material by 3 whole cards, the battle card she attacks and the 2 from hand, and then clean up your opponent's life by using Kakunsa. Don't worry about your defense. Just don't really worry about it. You've got Sacrifice, which is one of the best negates. It's a free negate and draw card. It's amazing. And you've got Rosie as a 20k blocker, and you've got free blockers, and you have full power energy as well. This deck is very good on defense, so don't worry about trying to pressure your opponent and dealing them a bunch of damage. No. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to deny them resources, specifically hand, by using Ribrianne to discard it and Kakunsa to critical it away. And now for the last card in the deck, the Ribrianne EX Evolve. 7-drop, which you're never going to pay the 7 for. EX Evolve for 1 green on a Ribrianne with an energy cost of 5 or more. Double Strike. When you play this card with Evolve by placing it on top of a Maiden Squadron, switch it into active mode. So, You attack with her, force your opponent to discard 2. EX evolve. Then you get to attack with her again. And when this one attacks, you discard another 2 cards from your opponent's hand at random. So that's a total of 4 cards. Once again, just focus on attacking your enemy's battle cards with this. It has double strike, but if you hit your opponent with it, they're just going to regain those 2 cards back, and that is the last thing you want to have happen. So focus on just taking out their battle cards, taking out their hand, and then cleaning up shop with Kakunsa. And you'll also be discarding more cards from your opponent's hand with your Lord Slug leader, because at this point you should be awakened due to his own life break. I've been Speedrobo. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions on the deck, drop them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Alright, I'll see you later.